Welcome to Outreach Your Limits with AI. When you think about artificial intelligence, changing everything, maybe your mind jumps to self-driving cars.
Or yeah, those really realistic images popping up everywhere online.
Exactly. But there's this fascinating and maybe kind of unexpected place where AI is really making big moves, the adult content industry.
Right. And the money side is just staggering.
Yeah.
Global AI market projections are what, $1.8 trillion by 2030?
Yeah, huge numbers. And a lot of folks expect adult content to be a pretty significant slice of that pie.
And what's really striking, I think, is that AI isn't just like working behind the scenes. We're actually seeing totally AI-generated influencers.
Digital people
Yeah,
based.
digital personas.
Mhm.
And they're gaining ground on platforms like Fanvue, which actually allows them, welcomes them even.
And they're even trying to get onto OnlyFans, right, despite the rules.
That's what the reports suggest, yeah. Even
Yeah.
with policies against it, they're making their presence felt.
Okay, so for you listening, especially if you're trying to track how the digital world is changing, this isn't just some weird internet footnote.
No, not at all. It's actually a really powerful example of how AI is shifting content creation, how we consume it.
It's brand new territory, really. And we dug up some genuinely surprising stuff about where this might all be headed.
So yeah, in this deep dive, we really want to unpack how these AI models are starting to, well, take up space where real human models usually operate.
How are they doing that? How are they making money?
Exactly. And look at the methods they're using to actually earn revenue and maybe speculate a bit on where this whole trend is going.
And we looked at a bunch of sources for this, right? Business news, stuff from the AI platforms themselves.
Uh-huh. And perspectives from inside the industry too, trying to get that, well-rounded view.
Okay, so let's start with this idea of AI personas, these digital influencers. There's this term that popped up, AI pimping.
Bit provocative, yeah.
Definitely grabs your attention. But it kind of describes this like cottage industry that's growing around creating and importantly monetizing these AI characters.
Jason Kobler at 404 Media really brought this out. It's people building these digital avatars specifically to make money from them.
And it's getting quite sophisticated, isn't it? It's not just making pictures anymore.
Right. Look at the Emily Pellegrini account. It apparently pivoted, or the person behind it did, to teaching others how to do it. Professor EP offering a course for like $250.
Wow. So it's becoming a marketable skill.
Yeah, it shows this rapid professionalization. It's moving beyond just a hobby into a real digital economy thing.
And something else that stood out, most of these AI influencers, the ones getting traction anyway, they seem to be female personas.
Overwhelmingly so, based on what we've seen,
Hmm.
and often operated by men.
That's interesting. Have the operators said that?
In some cases, yeah, they've been open about it,
Hmm?
which raises questions about, what's driving this.
What are the sources saying there?
Well, one concept that keeps coming up is the loneliness business.
Loneliness business. Explain that.
The idea is that these AI influencers are selling a kind of fantasy, a fantasy of connection.
Right, their relationship.
Sort of, but it's often built on automated interactions, maybe scripted responses. It's about crafting this illusion of a personal connection to meet that desire for intimacy, even if it's with code, essentially.
Okay, so these digital personas, mostly female presenting, are making money. What's the actual, business model?
Well, the main action seems to be on platforms that work a bit like OnlyFans, but they're cool with AI creators. Fanvue is the big example here.
So they're openly allowing AI.
Yep, seems to be their strategy. And the model is familiar. Subscriptions users pay monthly for access.
Mm-hmm.
And then direct sales, selling individual photos or videos. So the basic creator-fan payment structure is there, just the creator isn't human.
Okay, so subscriptions, pay-per-view, pretty standard. But AI must offer some different possibilities, right? Especially for content.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge advantage they have. Custom content.
How so?
Because they're just data, right? They can fulfill really specific, even like wild requests. You mentioned being on the Eiffel Tower, and AI can do that instantly.
Without a plane ticket or a photo shoot crew.
Exactly. So a user could ask for a super specific, personalized scene,
Mm-hmm.
and the AI just generates it. No logistics. And that kind of niche imaginative fulfillment, that can cost a lot.
How much are we talking?
Well, we saw reports, OFM Kyle mentioned this, that custom images might go for $2,000, even $3,000.
Huh? For a picture?
Yeah. And even things like AI-generated voice notes could apparently fetch around $500.
That's serious money for digital bits and bytes. Okay, you mentioned Fanvue embracing AI, but OnlyFans is pushing back.
Yeah, the contrast is pretty clear. Fanvue seems to see AI influencers as, a valid, maybe even profitable type of
Quite a
creator,
growth area.
potentially. Whereas OnlyFans, their official stance is against it. Reports suggest they delete AI accounts when they find them. OFM Kyle apparently had that experience.
So two totally different strategies playing out. Fanvue could really carve out a niche there.
It definitely could. By being the go-to platform for this type of content, they might attract a big chunk of that market.
Makes sense. But what about the actual human creators? The real people working in adult content? How does this AI wave affect them?
That's where it gets pretty concerning. We're hearing from real creators about feeling dehumanized.
Dehumanized how?
They see these AI-generated faces, sometimes put onto bodies that look suspiciously human, maybe even their bodies, potentially.
Wait, so someone could take a real creator's photo or video and just slap an AI face on it?
That's the fear, yeah. And there are also reports that social media algorithms, like on Instagram Reels, might even promote content with these AI-swapped faces.
So your work could get stolen, altered with AI, and then boosted by the platform without you even knowing.
That's the core problem. And it's tricky because many real performers feel vulnerable on platforms like Meta, Facebook and Instagram.
Why vulnerable?
They might worry that if they report AI impersonation, it could bring negative attention to their own accounts, maybe get them banned or restricted. Elena St. James talked about this kind of dilemma.
That's a tough spot. Report the fake and risk your own livelihood.
Exactly. And while platforms like Meta say they have rules against impersonation, how do you apply that when the thing being impersonated is an AI persona that doesn't actually exist in the real world? It gets murky.
Yeah, I can see that. Sounds like the platforms are kind of dropping the ball, struggling to keep up. Any idea how widespread this actually is?
Seems pretty big, scale-wise. One researcher apparently found something like 900 AI influencer accounts.
900.
Yeah, and then just stopped counting because there were so many. It's growing fast.
Wow.
And you know how algorithms work. Once you interact with some of this AI content, the platform just starts feeding you more and more. It's that rabbit hole effect.
Right. This whole thing feels linked to that wider issue people are calling AI slop.
It definitely connects. This flood of low-effort, mass-produced AI content isn't just in adult entertainment. It's happening across the internet.
Explain AI slop a bit more.
It's just the sheer volume of stuff AI can churn out. Think about it. A human creator needs time, resources, maybe travel to get specific shots.
Yeah.
And AI can generate thousands of images in exotic locations instantly, on demand.
So human creators just can't match the sheer output.
Not on volume, no. And people running these AI accounts, they often get good at gaming the system, using spammy tactics, keywords, hashtags to get their stuff seen.
And if one platform cracks down,
They just pivot, maybe try a different kind of AI content. It makes it harder and harder for real human-made stuff to even get discovered in all that noise.
it really changes the landscape. So what's the tech behind this? It can't just be one simple tool, right?
No, it's definitely a mix. You've got image generators, things like Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, Leonardo.ai, creating the visuals.
Okay, the faces and bodies.
Right. Then you have chatbots, personality engines, probably using large language models like ChatGPT to handle the conversations, give them a
For
personality.
it to be interactive.
Exactly. And voice synthesizers, like 11 Labs, for any audio stuff, voice notes, maybe short clips, plus automation tools to schedule posts, manage interactions.
Keeping the content flowing.
And there are even platforms popping up, like AI Influencer Company, that try to bundle all these features together, kind of an all-in-one AI influencer toolkit.
Like a factory for virtual people. Are they actually, successful, though? We heard about the custom content prices, but are people building big audiences, making consistent money?
Seems like it, yeah. Some examples really stand out. Emily Pellegrini reportedly made nearly $10,000 on Fanvue in just 6 weeks.
10 grand in 6 weeks. Wow.
And then there's Atana. She's an AI model from Barcelona agency. Got a huge social media following that apparently makes thousands a month from sponsored posts, brand deals.
So advertising revenue, too, not just fan subscriptions.
Right. And Atana even launched her own OnlyFans-style membership thing for exclusive content.
Diversifying.
And that company, AI Influencer Company, they claim clients are hitting 5 figures a month per character. They even mentioned one case going from $0 to $30,000 a month in under 90 days.
30 grand a month from a virtual model.
That's the claim. It suggests this can be incredibly lucrative, even if, the ethics are definitely up for debate.
Clearly. So looking ahead, where does this go? What are the future trends we should watch out for?
Well, it seems likely we'll see more AI models landing actual brand deals, maybe even with big clothing companies or other mainstream brands.
Why would brands do that?
Cost savings, probably. Think about it. No travel costs, no studio fees, no photographer fees, no model fees in the true general sense. It could be much cheaper for campaigns.
Makes sense from a business perspective. What else?
The tech's getting better. We're hearing about talking models,
Mm.
AI capable of real-time voice chats, maybe with personalized memory, remembering past conversations.
So more interactive, more like a real conversation.
Potentially, yeah. AI influencer company mentioned working on that. We might also see interactive AI storylines develop, where fans can actually influence what happens with their favorite virtual character.
Like a choose your own adventure with an AI.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And further out, maybe real-time animation, maybe even full-length adult films generated entirely by AI.
That feels like a huge leap.
It does. And obviously, all of this comes with massive ethical questions. Unrealistic beauty standards, objectification, the impact on real humans. It's a lot.
And regulation. Deepfakes, consent, digital rights.
That's going to be a huge conversation, absolutely. How do we manage this? Though some people also think there might be a future where AI and human creators actually coexist, maybe even collaborate somehow.
An interesting thought. Okay, so let's try and sum up this deep dive. It feels like the main takeaway is that AI is really shaking things up in the adult content world. Massively.
Undeniably. From how content is made to how it's sold, the platforms involved, the impact on real creators, it's a huge disruption.
And it's happening fast. The scale and the speed are pretty remarkable.
Definitely. Which leads to the big question to leave you, the listener, with, right?
Go for it.
As this AI gets more and more sophisticated, and it gets harder to tell what's real and what's virtual, what does that do to our ideas about intimacy, about connection, about the whole creator economy?
Yeah, and what are the bigger societal implications when the world is increasingly populated by these non-human entities in roles that are, well, pretty influential and visible?
Lots to think about there.